Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my show, CryptoXpres. Sorry, I've been gone for a few days. We've just been dealing with our pup's health. And yeah, it's been taking me into the late night. But that said, I'm happy to be back. Welcome back. I know the markets seem a little scary right now. Bitcoin has been, seems to be stuck in the sideways trend motion. Information globally, is not the best. But that said, there is an underlining story, and that's what is my goal today in sharing this video with you, is in explaining perspective, level-headed perspective on what's happening, and share some good news as well, which will be at the end of this video. But that said, let's get started. So first off, as mentioned, this is Bitcoin's chart. It's not the most exciting chart, but if we were to zoom out, which I won't show you this exact moment because I just want to respect your time, we would see that Bitcoin is simply in a consolidation period, which coincides with a pattern that typically happens before it breaks out, right? So we have not entered into the parabolic extreme, to the moon sort of bull run phase yet. So just hang on. Right now is the time to simply accumulate, to buy more of Bitcoin, buy more of the tokens you believe in, which I've covered extensively on my channel, and I would encourage you to go watch. But there are some really great projects that do warrant, do deserve your attention and investment, depending on your goals. But that said, I will breeze over the next news, but we know that the US debt crisis is off the charts. There's actually a cool website that I did not pull up for you, but it's called like the World Debt, like World Global, no, like US World Debt, like clock or something, and it shows you in real time how much debt the US is incurring. But what's most notable of this piece of news is that with all of the printing of money that happened after the recent pandemic, we know that the US kept printing money to help keep everyone afloat, and it looked good on the outside because it looked like the government was caring for its people and, helping everyone get through the times. But the truth is, this has, it's increasingly debased the US dollar, weakened it. And this is a problem because the world at large is based and denominated on the US dollar in large part. It's been one of the world's reserve currencies. So it's a problem because, the US is fixing across the $35 trillion mark for the first time in history. That's about $1 trillion every 100 days. And just to give us some perspective, it took the US 220 years to gain its first $11 trillion worth of federal debt. And we gained that much in the US, which affects the global economy. The US gained $11 trillion of debt in the last 4 years. And I share this piece of news to share like macro perspective of what's going on globally. The US debt is off the charts, which obviously affects Bitcoin, which then affects altcoins, which affects all markets really. So that said, but if we zoom out, which I always encourage you to do and try to do on my channel, we'll see that it's nothing abnormal. If we look at all previous bull runs, this is where we are. We're perfectly within that trending period. And that's what this tweet says. It says, this current corrective period for Bitcoin is as normal as it gets. Retrace is minus 18% deep currently. So a typical pullback is between 18% and 23%, and we're at an 18% pullback, retrace. So this is normal. So I'm just here to tell you that I know it seems scary. I know it's your real money on the line, but it's normal. So it's not a time to go, freak out and sell. Like, that would be a mistake. Right now is a time to buy more of what you believe in. It's just a time to observe what's happening globally, which I'll get into in a minute. But many of you may have heard of this great reset agenda, right? Where like all the governments of the world are basically, trying to create like one monetary system and like monitor everyone with biometrics, eye scans. It's all part of this large agenda. We keep hearing about it, right? Well, there's a big shift happening right now in the world of people that are breaking away from the system and are choosing to be their own banks. They're choosing to be their own responsible entities in control and in charge of their own financial assets and future. It's like old world versus new world mentality, and there's this transition that has to happen. And Bitcoin is the catalyst. Bitcoin is the symbol, of decentralization, of this tremendous change in philosophy that's happening all over the world. So I would just ask everyone to just hang tight. It's going to be this way. I've said it in previous shows where, I believe this bull run is going to be more volatile than any other bull run because we have institutional players buy-in like we've never seen before. Bitcoin is not going to repeat previous cycles. Like, we can only use it as a general, guide or example, but never in history have we had so many nations or the US government, approving Bitcoin ETFs. Like, that has been historical. Like, Pandora's box has been open, as we learn about in Greek mythology. So there's no going back. And now that we have big players in the market, of course they're going to be playing games. Of course they're going to be releasing all sorts of crazy news to like scare people from investing, because that's what happens when people get scared of what's going on globally, wars, pandemics. Like, what do people do? They get scared. People contract. You get smaller when you're scared, so you don't make as many bold moves. So that's not good for the economy. But why would they do this? If you think through it, they would do this because then this puts them in the position to buy instead of us. So it's just like the art of war. That's what's going on. Okay. But okay, so that said, this brings me to what you may have heard going around, on Twitter, or if you follow, all past halvings yourself, you would know that traditionally, May has been a positive month. And this tweet shows that, so May of 2012, Bitcoin was up 7.92%, May 2016 up 18.78%, May 2020 up 9.51%. And this May, so far, if we look at the chart, we're in red. Some are saying that, if we are not up this month, then this would be the first month that Bitcoin does not follow the historical trends. And I guess the implication here is that this would be a negative thing. But remember that the halving happened in April this month. It happened earlier than it has historically. But anyway, so I'm just kind of giving you a little debrief of what's been going on in the market. You may have heard some of this on other channels, but I'm doing my best to sort of like summarize it all for you. And this is just a look at altcoins as of today, as of this week. It's all been red. But that's how the saying goes, right? Is like, how is it like sell? What is it? Like sell in April, come back in May or something? It's to be expected. So that's all I'm here to tell you. It's a good opportunity to buy some of your favorite coins. Don't get scared. Just wait. It's normal. All right. Some other big piece of news is, as we know and as I've covered in my previous videos, Japan's currency called yen has been going down. It's been struggling, and this is a problem. I'll show a chart in a minute. Where's the chart? Yeah, okay, well, this one will do. Basically, it's been struggling. I won't get into all the details, but it was, weakened to 160 against the US dollar, which is the first time it's been at this exchange rate since the 1990s. But what's crazy is that as it's been plummeting or going down, apparently there was a little rally, there was a little rise in price. And see, that's what it's saying here. That's a 2.5 swing in one of the biggest currencies in the world in a matter of minutes. So some believed there was some manipulation going on behalf of Japan's bank. But as you'll see in my next tweet, Japan's top currency official, Masato Kanda, declined to answer whether the Bank of Japan had intervened in the FX market following a sharp gain against the US dollar. And he just said no comment. So that basically says that, chances are maybe they did, right? So the point is, the Japanese yen has been struggling. This is problematic, and it kind of affects everyone because we're all connected. All the markets of the world are connected. Is because if Japan can't get a handle and can't control this massive devaluation of their currency, then it's going to put them in a position to have to sell their US Treasuries to prop up the yen, right? Because what else are they going to do? Like, if you're sinking, you're going to start throwing stuff off the boat, right? Well, that's what they're going to do. They're going to have to start selling their US Treasuries. And what's going to happen, well, a few things are going to happen, but could happen, but people are going to buy those high yielding Treasuries, and that will in turn then prop up the US dollar. So it's a trick, like, so that could happen. Or what could happen, as Mr. Max Kaiser here says, is that basically it could lead into quantitative easing. Yeah, so scary times. And then we also heard in the last couple days that there's been a bank that's been officially seized by regulators called the Republic First Bank. Some are speculating, like this could be like the beginning of other bank collapses, or as we saw a moment ago with the Chinese yen tanking, that this is what could happen to the US dollar as well. So there's a lot of speculation and a lot of fear in the market, but that's what, they're theories, right? And we don't know. But as we can see in this tweet here, it's this individual, this person is saying that either Powell and Yellen will do something now, or Japan sells their 1.1 trillion in bonds, which inevitably forces quantitative easing. What's quantitative easing? It's the printing of money, right? So it's like, yeah, either a bunch of investors are going to come in and buy up the treasuries that Japan has to sell to save its own currency, which will prop up the US dollar, or other investors don't come in and buy them up, in which case the US will have to buy them up. And the US is in debt, so it's probably going to have to print more money to save Japan's action, right, of selling their US treasuries. So it's a convoluted, sort of mess right now. And it could, you know, it's scary. That said, this leads me into another big piece of news, and sorry if it sounds so negative. It is not exciting news, but once again, all of these updates on what's going on globally with banks and this whole struggle really just points to Bitcoin being the answer, right? Because if you can't count on your Japanese yen, if you're Japanese, or you can't count on the US dollar because banks are collapsing now, what are you going to do? You're going to look to put your money into a financial asset that no one can take from you and that is only going to go up in value, which is only Bitcoin. So, scary times, but I would encourage you to see through it and see the big picture and how it's ultimately a good thing and why it's ultimately a good thing to be buying Bitcoin right now or other crypto. But okay, so I'm going to just brush over this news, but you can go learn more about it if you want. But there's this, you know, platform or project called Tornado Cash. Many of you may have used it or know of it, but it's basically some sort of website or service where you can send your crypto to, and it will like confuse it, mix it all up, and then you can send it anywhere. And it basically like erases like the connection of you to whatever service or product you paid for. So some shady people or people who just don't want the government or anyone knowing what they're doing with their money will use this service, these, you know, like a service like Tornado Cash. Anyway, I think it was like forced to be taken offline, and I think they're being investigated or sued or something by the US government. I don't have all the details. But anyway, Tornado Cash decided to, you know, fight against this in saying that they were not, you know, responsible for how people were using their service. They were simply a platform. But anyway, there's a lot of back and forth on this. This was a big deal. And this is a big deal at large because, as I was saying in the beginning of my video, it seems that like regulators or like the government are looking to find any way to stop or scare people from using crypto or crypto services and platforms. And there was like so many memes going around on this today, you know, because they basically called out, sorry for all the ads. Yeah, there's a lot of details here. Let me explain in the next tweet. So basically, yeah, this led to a very loose argument on how the US is basically arguing that an Ethernet cable could be used in Bitcoin transaction as a money transmitter. So that's what they called Tornado Cash, I believe, was that they were a money transmitter and operating illegally, right, without having a license to do so. And so people were just, you know, and it's good. It's worth thinking through. You know, at what point do we, like, where do we draw the line? What defines a money transmitter? And what defines a money transmitter operating illegally? Because in crypto, technically, a USB is like a money transmitter, right? But if we take that to a more like dramatic and like comical example, then technically an Ethernet cable that connects to the internet would be a money transmitter. And that's something everybody's doing all over the world, right? We send payments through PayPal or whatever, and it goes through an Ethernet cable. So anyway, we're receiving a lot of pushback from the government right now, and man, let's see what happens. But I'm just sharing this with you so you understand that, you know, the kind of pushback that crypto is getting right now. And it's simply because the government can't control it. And they can't control it, unfortunately, because they don't understand it. It'd be great if the government had a whole department dedicated to cryptocurrencies. I know they're outsourcing right now to like private consultants, but that's tricky business because crypto is so, as you probably know, is so vast. And there's so many specializations within crypto that just because you're good at trading or technical analysis doesn't mean you're good at the fundamental stuff. Doesn't mean you're a good, fundamental investor. Doesn't mean you know how to build it. Doesn't mean you understand the technology. And there's so many different types of technologies and they don't all interact, right? That's why I have this channel for you guys to try to explain things to you. But it just seems that, if there was, I don't know, like a crowdsourced body of crypto, thought leaders and experts in all the different areas, then maybe they could advise and help clarify things to the government a little bit better, because I feel like the government and the regulators in the US anyway, and I mean this with all the respect, I'm not trying to cause problems here, is that they just, they're scared because they don't understand what's happening. So it's like a parent. If they don't understand and they're just scared for their child's safety or of losing control, they're just going to say no, 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 no to everything. But if they understood more, then, maybe they wouldn't be so scared, or there would at least be a middle ground where like we could communicate. But anyway, those are my 2 cents. And some are proposing that, if the governments get out of control, trying to control everyone using like any form of money transmitter, so like your own private ledgers, your cold storage wallets, or if they really push the bill and start like going after everybody that's acting as a money transmitter, then crypto may have to go back to its old original days where, you could download, not as an extension, but literally download your own wallet. There was something called Mist, an Ethereum Mist wallet. I guess if you're an OG watching this channel, welcome, you would know. That was before my time, but this is what I understood, is that if, the government continues to push all this, self-custody apparatuses, or devices being self-custodial and therefore like illegal, then crypto will just have to revert or go back to its old days where it just operated in a more truly decentralized way. And we'll just, the technology exists, is all you need to know, is that the technology exists to preserve your financial and crypto assets to where they're not going to confiscate them, right? That'd be a really far stretch. And anyway, if you just follow my channel, follow channels like Kyle Chassey's channel or like Ivan on Tech, they'll keep you up to date as well. But I really try to break things down for you guys in a way that you would understand. But okay, that said, once again, a beautiful example of where we are in light of the general parabolic curve going into a bull run. Where we're at right now could simply be argued to be a new support line. So yeah, just once again, just, driving the point home that there's nothing to be scared of. I know time seems scary, but, both from a technical, analytical standpoint and from just like a general big picture, algorithmically based perspective, Bitcoin is only going to go up in the long term, and we have to break out from where we are. And we're just seeing big influencers of the world, kind of manipulate markets right now. This chart shows the same thing. If you look at, all past historical bull run cycles, like we are here, as you can see in black, like we haven't even begun to see any sort of like real bull run action. So I'm just trying to drive that point home for you, that we're still early. Like we're out of phase 1, but we have definitely not entered into like parabolic, like phase 2 bull run to the moon action yet. And then this tweet is really good because it explains why the next months, 6 months will be a relentless up only. And it's because as I'll get into now, some good news for you guys, is that the US and China are both about to embark on a massive stimulus and money printing. This is not good, right, on like the big picture, because they're debasing the US dollar, but that is good for markets in general, even if it's temporarily, because then everyone has money again and they start investing. And now that the general investor of the world, now that the ETFs were approved, they know that the dollar is going to zero. Well, once they get all this, fake US money, what are they going to do? They're going to the people that know, which more people know than they have ever in the past, they're going to grab that money and they're going to put it into crypto, or they should. So that's one. Two of the largest countries in the world are going to be doing this. Yeah, that's what we see here from Arthur Hayes saying, as expected, tax receipts add roughly to 200 billion. This is very technically deep, so I'm going to skip over it, but it basically says what I explained to you. We'll skip over this news. All right, now into some good news. All right, so we know that, I don't know if you guys know, but if you're looking for some good alpha right now, despite the market being down, what I would advise you to do, and I'm not advising you to invest into the projects that I'm going to share with you, I'm just sharing what is some good news going on right now and what would be wise to do, considering the market is in the condition that it is, would be to, of course, buy up some more Bitcoin, because it's programmed, right? Bitcoin is only going to go up in value. Two would be to move your money into projects that have a long-term use case, good teams, good tech, and they already have a lot of mass adoption, because we know that they're going to do good, right? One of these projects would be Friendtech. I don't have an account with them. You can go check them out if you want. Here's the link, friend.tech. They have a large following. That's a good sign. They're followed by a lot of important and big crypto influencers. Virtual Bacon is one of my favorites. And they happen to be launching V2 tomorrow. Where's the news? I'll get to it in a minute. But anyway, okay, so let's kind of wrap things up, right? So this gentleman, Edward Dowd, he is actually a founding partner of Finance Technologies. And he worked on Wall Street for most of his career for some of the biggest firms. And he worked at BlackRock as a portfolio manager. So this is from him. And he says, financial tea leaves, or let's look at what's coming based on what's happening. He says, the yen is depreciating, as we just saw a moment ago, which means the yen carry trade is under pressure. Regulators are warning of clearing company bankruptcies. As we know, they just seized a bank that was struggling. And then there's moves by government to cut off self-custody of Bitcoin, as we saw a moment ago. Right, and then we saw the bank failure announcement after close of market today. So this is what he says, right? The hour of some kind of monetary reset draws ever closer. This is what I was saying. There's a monetary reset happening globally. So I know it's not like the best exciting news to bring you today, but I just want you to understand that everything from the war, everything from, these banks collapsing, and now the government, cracking down on self-custody wallets because it's a money transmitter or whatever, their logic is. It really just paints a picture of this financial reset that's happening. So it's ultimately a good thing. because it brings more people and more attention towards crypto, towards Bitcoin, towards financial freedom, towards owning your finances. But there's a transition. It's like giving birth. You know, it's hard. Not that I've had a child, but I hear it's hard. We're during that like birthing hard period, but then it's like, whew, you know? Anyway, yeah, it's, you know, Ash Crypto says the same thing. Bitcoin and ETH spot ETFs in Hong Kong will officially start trading tomorrow. So here's some bullish news for you. So here are some projections, right? They're saying that they're expecting Hong Kong's first ETF trading day to be larger than in the US, with some kind of redemptions and subscriptions, wallet-to-wallet transfers. There's all this news on them. And then I heard that like Asia or like Hong Kong's market, where is it, is larger than the US, something like that. It's crazy. So they have, it's not a small market. All right, and then some like pop culture sort of good news is that Eminem is partnering with Crypto.com. So this is going to be pretty huge, and it just shows you that like crypto is going nowhere. Like it's moving forward, and we still have, you know, big celebrities, which, you know, I'm really grateful for, and their involvement in crypto because they have big followings. And, you know, thanks to them, crypto is, you know, getting more widely known. So it's pretty exciting. And then we hear that the bank, you guys would know, HSBC, is adding in crypto into their portfolio options, like buy options. They're giving them a 1 to 5% weight. So we have this massive bank, it's like a Hong Kong-based bank, that is going to be adding in crypto for their investors to invest in. So this is huge bullish news, right? This is going to spread the crypto opportunity, investment opportunity to like a tremendous amount of people. So this is some really bullish news. I just want you to understand that this is like, while there's a lot of negative news happening, there's a lot of positive too. And we're just simply in a, what do they call it? An accumulation phase before, you know, Bitcoin pops off. And then altcoins pop off, and then everything pops off. So just hang tight, everyone. Yeah, see, Hong Kong Bitcoin ETF launches tomorrow. Oh, here's the secret, and here's a little secret from the world. The Asian market in user count is bigger than in the US and European markets combined. This is a Huobi report, just a big exchange. See? Asia, look at that, tremendous. North America, small, in the millions, like 45 million. And Asia's market is 125 million. Unbelievable. So this is not small news, and this happens tomorrow. So chances are, I don't know if it's like buy the news or like sell the news, I don't know. But it could be a good idea if you want to be on the safe side of things. It could be a good idea to buy a little bit more of the tokens that you believe in. Because we have a lot of good news happening, like tomorrow and then the next day with Friendtech. I didn't get to show you, but Friendtech's launch, this is Decubate, that's also great. And I know that Ivan on Tech, I'll finish my thought in a minute on Friendtech, but I know that Ivan on Tech, which is a big influencer, thought leader, and he's really, I think, like really sort of like neutral in his understanding, really positive, of course, but like he's been in the space a long time. And I met him, and so I know he's like very level-headed, and just I appreciate that sort of news. He's backing them. So that said, we know that if any influencer backs a project, they will do good. So I'm just letting you know that if you want to follow the money, which we like to do on this channel, then I can tell you that I know that a big influencer like Ivan on Tech is backing them. So this could be interesting for you to go follow. Also, fantastic news for you. Australia is also joining the ETF fund, and they're expected to approve their ETFs in Australia this year. So you see, so much global adoption, like no one can stop that. No one can stop that. And I happen to know it's unfortunate and I'm not supporting it necessarily. Anyway, we know that a lot of the world doesn't like the US, unfortunately. So as they gain access to Bitcoin's ETFs, what does this do? It takes some of the power away from the US dollar, which I happen to know that a lot of countries, you probably do too, a lot of the countries of the world would be happy that this, that the US would lose some of its financial dominance. So I can't foresee other countries being so difficult towards crypto. They might embrace it even more because, if anything, they understand it takes power away from the US dollar. But anyway, just my theories. All right. There's also an airdrop going on for Friendtech as V2 goes live. So go follow them on Twitter. But I'm just letting you know what is going on. And it has a large community. So see, Friendtech launches tomorrow. Actually, it's going to launch on Thursday. This needs to be updated. But so this gives you an extra day to go follow them. Go follow them. This is them at Friendtech right here. But okay, guys, I hope you gained some insight and big picture perspective of what's going on in the crypto market. It's not like an exciting time or day. I mean, I think it's an exciting time because like whatever the weather is, Bitcoin is still going up. And when the weather's bad, it's just a time to buy. That's all it means. So it's not a time to be scared, guys. It's a time to relax. Just sit down and hold what you're holding or move it into good long-term investments or just wait. But this buys us time, if anything. Like for me, I take it as like, oh, good, I can go buy more of the tokens that I believe in. That's how I feel about it. Because I know for sure, based on the technical analysis, based on Bitcoin's like programmed, supply, it's going to go up only. But okay, I love you guys very much, and I'll be more regular in my content. I'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, happy to be back. Love you guys.